What's your thoughts on the new formula for the V8 supercars when they're basically going to what's basically a silhouette? Do you think that's a good thing, or are they better off to keep the cars with the individual identities?
Well, I didn't have a lot to do with the current V8.
Yeah.
I know a little bit more about the supercars.
Yes.
And I think it's great. I think there's the chassis idea. It's a one chassis with both cars.
Yep.
With the same engine. It's you could say a little bit more like NASCAR. I think it's a good thing.
Yep.
Yeah. I think in the long run it'll be cheaper than the old cars to run.
Means the teams will stay around longer.
Yeah. And the performance level's lifted a bit, which
Yes.
makes it more exciting for the drivers.
Yep.
Yeah. Might be a little bit harder to get that extra little bit out of the car because you've got more performance, lighter weight.
When was the last time you drove a V8 supercar?
Last time I drove a V8 supercar was at Bathurst in 2006, I think it was. Yeah.
Haven't tried one since?
No.
No.
I haven't needed to or wanted to.
Right. You've got that out of your system.
Yeah.
Of all the touring cars that you have driven, which one sticks out as being the best one to drive?
Well, normally, unfortunately, I mean, like I've got fond memories of the 635, the M3, the Nissans I drove. But normally the last car you drove, which is the latest car,
Yes.
is usually the best.
Yeah.
But great memories of the M3, 635, because of course we won on that and we won on the M3. The Nissans I drove are brilliant. The HR31, which was two-wheel drive, 2-litre, 6-cylinder turbo, was fantastic. It was like a quicker M3. And then we went, of course, to the GDRs, which were brilliant. Then the next one I drove Commodores.
Yes.
In the V8 series. I drove Falcons, and of course probably the last Commodore I drove was probably equally as good as any I've ever driven, and that was sort of 2005-06. But I qualified third on the grid in 2003, and that car was superb.
Excellent.
Really good.
And you're still involved with historic touring car racing in Australia now?
Yep, we have a class called Touring Car Masters, and that is sort of based on historic, with freedoms, but strict freedoms on different items that may tend to break as they were in their day.
Right.
So, but very strictly controlled, and it's a fantastic class.
Excellent. So how many cars are running in the series at the moment?
We have 40 licences sold, and we regularly get probably 35 cars to each meeting.
Brilliant. And is it a mix of drivers like yourself who, having retired from full-time racing, are now doing it for fun? Private owners?
Yes, it is. Exactly right. It's for the clubman that has got his job and he works all week and prepares his car at night. To guys like myself who do it for a job. But it doesn't make me any less or any more competitive if the guy wants to really drive well and do the right thing with his car. So that respect, he can have exactly like I've got at any time he wants to, type of thing.
Excellent. So it's the racing is pretty much period as far as the cars go.
Yes, it is.
Just with a few
you've
modifications.
got to look at the regulations a bit probably more thorough, because our weight is determined on our engine size.
Okay.
We all have the same wheels and tyres, all have the same size brakes. Your engine size determines your RPM you use. So the bigger the engine, the less RPM you get. The smaller the engine, the more RPM you get. So all that is dictated, and then works out, pretty even in the end.
So it makes for good tight racing?
It does. It allows a 289 Falcon Sprint to be competitive with a 350 Camaro or 351 Mustang.
So what are you running in that series?
I have been running 64 Falcon Sprint, and I've just built a 72 Javelin.
Interesting.
An AMC, yeah.
Yeah. Did they ever run those in Australia?
No,
in
they
their
didn't.
day?
No, but in our Touring Car Masters class, it can be any car that ran in Australia or any car that has significant history. And the Javelin has significant history. It won Trans Am for 2 years over in the States. Yeah.
So you think there'll be possibly more cars turning up further down the track
No,
that we
they're
haven't
probably-
seen in this part of the world? Or?
Probably not, because all the licenses now are sold.
Oh, okay.
So all the cars
The
are set.
field is full.
Yeah, so if you wanted to, let's say you wanted to enter Touring Car Masters, you have to find someone that's competing, that has a license for sale, and normally that would go with his car.
Of course.
So then you would take over his car, his license.
Right.
Or if he didn't want to sell his car, you could buy his license, and then you'd have to apply to build a car.
Right.
But you wouldn't be able to build, say, a Mustang or a Camaro, because there's 4 of each of them in the class. So you'd have to go and build something that no one else had.
Oh, so that way you're making sure that you have actually got a good range
Exactly,
of cars, so you
exactly.
don't finish up with 10
Exactly.
Falcons. And,
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, sounds like a brilliant
Yeah,
way to do it.
yeah.
How many races over a season does this?
Well, 27 races,
Yes.
but 8 race meetings,
Right.
more or less. Eight meetings with 3 races per meeting, and then we have a special meeting at Muscle Car Masters, which is sort of based around our class.
So you'll be running at Phillip Island Historics?
No, I'm
No?
running in the VM, but we don't run in the historics.
Oh, right.
So we're not historics now. We've gone out of the historic category to allow us to do the modifications and
Right.
our
Oh,
masters.
okay. Yes.
Yeah, so we run up the normal regular V8 supercar races.
Okay.